So greetings, friends and followers. This is Nurses Talking. My name is Dale Barcy, and as always, if you like what you see and hear, give us a like, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you think. Today, my guest is Ms. Laneisha Harris. Laneisha is a licensed practical nurse. She is an entrepreneur. She's a CPR instructor. She's a CNA instructor, and that is a certified nurse's aid instructor. CPR certified cardiopulmonary resuscitation instructor. For a minute, I almost said certified PR instructor.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, so anyhow, welcome, Laneisha, and thank you so very much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so the first thing I really always want to know from people is why they're nurses, because I think that your why is so very important. Why are you a nurse?
Because I just love taking care of people. I think that's probably the general answer you get a lot of times, but I just like taking care of people, definitely. Yeah.
So but you know, here's what I know for sure. Nursing comes with a lot of challenges. So what are some of those challenges that presented themselves to you?
One challenge is, I think, with the hours that we work, working the hours, long hours, and then having children. So you have to adjust that time between the both. And that was like a big issue for me. And that's actually what made me get into business, because I have worked so much with my older kids. Well, I say my other kids, I have an 18-year-old, a 13-year-old Saturday, and then I have a 2-year-old. So a big gap in children. And the first two, I work. So when I had my 2-year-old, she'll be 2 in October, I said, you know what? I'm not going to do it, because my children grew up so fast, because I was always working. So I think just balancing work and life, and that's one of the biggest challenges for me. Yes, definitely. Yes.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a challenge for a lot of us. I mean, it's a challenge for working people in general, but it's a challenge for a lot of us as nurses, principally because we get so involved in it, number one.
Yes.
And number two, the potential is there to just work. You can work like,
exactly. Yeah.
If you don't put the brakes on and say, hey, you can work 365 if you wanted to.
Yep.
And so, so if people see it as an opportunity, it is an opportunity, but it's also a challenge.
It is.
Because, the temptation is there to keep going and keep going.
Very, yes.
Yeah. It was one of my challenges, I have to tell you.
Definitely was mine. Because it was there, and I was like, go get it. And that's what I was doing. I was getting it. Yep.
Yeah, go get it. So what areas have you worked?
I started off as geriatrics, and then I went to dialysis and pediatrics. Yes. And then so currently home care is where I deal now.
Yeah. Oh, that was going to be my next question, actually. What is your current specialty? So home care
right now, yes. I have been in home care pretty much my whole term in nursing. I've been a nurse for 10 years, and I have been in home care the whole time, just having, as a PRN, there you go. And had the ALF and then the dialysis as my regular job.
Tell me about home care, because I asked that because I tried home care. I lasted one day. I lasted one. Honest to goodness, I won't lie. I lasted one day, and so I have this great admiration for people who work in home care, because they're like, how do you do it?
Really, my best friend, she's an LPN, and she says the same thing. She's ALF, and she said the same thing, and I'm just like, huh? I love it. I love it. I mean, but you have to be sure of yourself, because you don't have anyone that you can go ask a question for. It's just you in the home. So that is definitely one of the things. you have to distinguish the difference between, yes, I'm in these people's home, but I am still a nurse. I still have a license. I still have to practice just like I would anywhere else.
Mhm.
And a lot of times in the home, the family don't understand that. They want to go and say, hey, here's some Tylenol, give it to him. And it's like, I don't have an order for that. You can give it, but I can't. And that kind of create problems because there are nurses who say, oh, it's just Tylenol, I'm going to give it. So that
Mhm.
creates an issue
Mhm.
for the nurses that is going to be strictly by the book.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but other than that, I mean, you just have to distinguish the difference that you're still a nurse in the home and you still have to follow the rules that we all have to follow. But other than that, like I mean, I honestly, I really do like the one-on-one because I'm
Yeah.
a CNA at heart. That's where I started from.
Okay. Okay.
So for me, I do everything, from the personal care to the passing meds to the G-tube feed to the
Mhm.
trach to the suction. I do it all.
Mhm.
So that's one of the things that I really like about it.
Okay. Okay. All right. So is that we'll get to that. Are there any aspects though? Because I have this thing I call nursing life. So is there
Mhm.
any aspects of nursing life you think you'd like to see change?
Oh, yeah. Just generally out in the field.
Or
Yeah.
anywhere in the
Um,
field, institutions?
okay, yeah, the teamwork, that is something that I'm creating the CNA Prep Queen, and that's what my group is about. Teamwork. I feel like the LPNs and the CNAs are always left out. And I feel like, in my opinion, the CNAs are the backbone of the healthcare because as a nurse, when I was in facilities, I needed the CNAs to do my job. And I think that I think that the pay is really low. And I think in general for the healthcare field, period, you know what I mean? Not just for LPN and CNAs, but I think it really is low. So I definitely want to see more teamwork and I definitely want to see pay raises for a lot of the healthcare field, everybody in the healthcare field, to be honest.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. I'm hearing a lot about how nurses are leaving the profession. Nurses
Mhm.
are burning out.
Yeah,
And it's happening. I see
yeah.
it.
Mhm.
It's like a tsunami. What do you think we can do though? Because there is no way healthcare, if if everybody stopped, if all nurses stop tomorrow, healthcare crashes.
Yeah, definitely.
Healthcare
Definitely.
crashes. So, and that's not going to happen. That's an extreme, scenario. But what can we do to stop this flood of nurses, you think, leaving the profession? Because, I hear ideas of, um, import foreign nurses and all of this.
I heard that too.
Not, I'm not
Mhm.
against those things, but in the interim, what do we do to stop those who are here and to make people feel more satisfied with their job, more want to stay? What do we do? You have any ideas?
You have to make people feel like you appreciate them. I think that's one of my issues of leaving the bedside,
Mhm.
not feeling like you being appreciated. I feel like we as nurses, we're looked at as robots. That we don't have personal lives, that we don't have things that's going on. We're human beings just like everybody else. Um, Again, the pay rate and stop what I'm seeing in a lot of the groups that I'm looking in and CNAs and people are talking and just venting. They have such a big load. You know what I mean? And I know it's a shortage, but somehow we have to get trained quality nurses, CNAs, and people out here to help because people are just burnt out by having just a big load of people. And then the administrators are not appreciating them, you know what I mean? And then people are wanting time off and you're not able to get time off with your family. So I think all those things need to be looked at. I think the time frame that they put on a nurse. When you're in a facility and you have 2-hour med pass and you have a patient that falls and you have a family that's calling and you have a doctor that's calling, how are you passing meds to 40 something people within the 2 hours? You know what I mean? Those are things that needs to be looked at, because then now the nurses, your med pass, you're behind on your med pass, so she's getting in trouble. Those are things that all that needs to be worked on.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. I absolutely agree. I think that one of the things that we overlook really is that as nurses, we are innovators, and we're not bringing that skill to this table. I think that we have an opportunity now, right now, with this shortage, this bleeding of nurses going on, to step into the breach and say, this is what needs to be done. We as nurses need to stand and say, not leave it to administrators, not leave it to managers, not leave it to owners and business people and all these people who haven't a clue actually what we're actually doing, what our day-to-day lives are like. I feel like we need to see ourselves and stand in that breach and say, listen, this is what needs to happen. This is what we demand that needs to happen. These are the conditions under which we will work. You know, this is what needs to happen. And I feel like if we push hard enough, it's not going to happen overnight.
No, definitely
For sure, it's not going to happen overnight. But we do need to make people more aware. I don't think people are aware of what needs to happen and how innovative we need to be in terms of the shifts, for example. Maybe we can offer alternative shifts. Maybe we can, overlap things. Maybe we can, there are ways. There has to be a way.
And we definitely do need to be listened to, instead of them saying that we're going to go get these foreigner nurses. Like, what I don't understand. What about us? So yeah, definitely I'm standing up. Yeah, I totally agree with you with that. Yeah.
We have to. Otherwise, it's not going to solve anything.
No.
What would you say is your greatest achievement as a nurse so far?
My greatest achievement as a nurse? I don't know.
Or just your greatest achievement. It doesn't have to be as a nurse, really.
My greatest achievement is being a business owner. Definitely a nurse entrepreneur. That is my greatest achievement.
Well, tell me about that.
Yes, I would love to. This is my fourth baby. I got 3 children. This is my 4th baby. I come from a background of nobody in the family was in healthcare field. Nobody in the family had a education. I dropped out of school in the 8th grade, and I worked my way up from CNA to a nurse to entrepreneur. And everything I've been through, I felt like I've been through by myself, me and the Lord, and I made it through. So for my business, again, like I said, being burnt out, working the long hours, not seeing my children grow, made me say, I got to do something, which I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I knew I was going to be utilizing my nursing, but I just didn't know what. And this just kind of came as an opportunity with the CPR instructor, and then it just kind of grew from there. So for me, that is my greatest achievement, because I don't have anyone to look up to or to get advice for. I'm doing everything and learning everything on my own. So it's very intimidating, but I think my nursing school helped me, because I see a lot of the pattern of the things that struggles and things that I went through in nursing school is the same thing I'm going through in business. So I know that I overcame that, and now 10 years later I can rock it as a nurse. I know that I'm overcoming this, and 10 years later I'm going to be great. And I'm great now, but I'm going to be extra great then.
I love the vision. Yes. I love the vision. So, and I look at your business. I love the names. You're the CNA prep Queen. I love Queen in there. I mean, it's like, I'm here.
Yes.
And your soul saver CPR. Let's talk to
And
me
so
about these names
the
you
soul
come
service
across.
CPR, it has a meaning behind it. I
Okay.
didn't just come up with the name. I sat down, I think forever, and me and my daughter, I'm like, you like this, you like this. I'm like, but it gotta mean something. So it was a lot of thought behind
You
soul
okay?
saving CPR. It
Yeah.
was. Yeah, definitely.
All right. All right. All right. I like that.
Thank you.
So what advice do you think you'd give to somebody who wants to be a nurse?
You're definitely going to have challenges. First of all, it's never a right time. It's never a right time to get into school, because all the obstacles and challenges and things that I went through, it is never the right time. If that's what you want to do, start it. And it doesn't matter if you dropped out of school in the 5th grade. I don't care. You can get to wherever it is you want to get to. So I would tell a new nurse, a student that's going into nursing school, to just stay consistent. You're going to cry. You're going to say that you can't do it. You're going to say you're quitting. You're going to say it's just not meant for you. But keep at it. I remember when my mom was in the hospital, and I think I was a CNA at that time, and I remember a nurse, and she said, my mom said, oh, my daughter wants to be a nurse. And then I was like, well, I don't think I'm smart enough, and she was like, don't ever think like that. And she said, it took me, and she was RN, I think she probably had a bachelor's, but she said, it took me 10 years to become a nurse. And she said, because she failed a lot, and then life happened, and but throughout that time, that's what she wanted to do, and she became a nurse. So I kept that in the back of my mind when I was going through my obstacles in school. So definitely that's what I would say. Keep at it, because you can do anything you want to do, and we need you out here. So don't let us down.
A question I've begun asking nurses is, and some advice I'd like, if you think you can give that advice, if you'd like to, how do you separate your nursing life and your professional life? Because you know what, it can be such an emotional thing. You can so involved that when you get home, or when you leave your place of work, if you're not careful, you just bring the whole thing with you.
Yeah, and that's even on the other side of that, is taking it into work.
Yeah.
I have been in the bathroom crying with some things that happen at home. It is very hard, because again, we are human beings, we're people, even in me taking care of pediatrics, and that's very hard, and not taking that home. But I think that you have to get time to yourself. And then that comes back with the being overworked. So you definitely have to get time for yourself. You have to just get it out. If you need to cry in the car, and then go in the house and you're a different person. And then the vice versa when you get to work. Whatever it is going on at home, cry in the car, whatever you need to do. And when you get to work, you gotta do what you need to do.
Telling you, if these cars could talk. Do you know how many nurses I talk about crying in the car? I know. If these cars could talk, oh my gosh, the stories they would tell.
But you definitely have to separate the two. You definitely have to. Yes, and it's hard to do.
It's hard to do. It's hard to do, and it's why I ask, because it's not easy. It's not easy to do at all. And I think it's one of the things that I would have to tell people. If you're getting into nursing, you're going to have. It's not going to happen overnight. You're going to take stuff from one place, but you have to learn to compartmentalize.
Yes.
So what does self-care mean to you, though? I think one of the reasons we're burning out is we don't take care of ourselves. So what does self-care mean to
and
you?
You know what? To be honest with you, I am just learning self-care. I'll be 35 in 2 weeks. I'm just learning self-care. Self-care is, to me, I like to travel. So that's self-care to me, honey. I like to travel. My husband is Jamaican, so I love going into Jamaica and just relaxing. So self-care is pampering yourself. loving yourself, doing something for you, even if that's going to the movies by yourself, going out to eat by yourself. Those things are self-care to me.
Mhm, mhm. You just said something very important. You said loving yourself.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think a lot of us don't even really know ourselves, let alone love ourselves.
That is true.
And so for me, when I ask what self-care means, you touched on really what I want to hear is that people actually are in tune with themselves,
Hmm. Hmm.
and love yourself, yes.
Hmm. Yeah.
Whether it's 5 minutes
Hmm.
or 5 hours or a
Hmm.
week-long vacation or
Hmm.
whatever it is,
Hmm.
just don't leave yourself out of the picture, because we
Yes,
do.
definitely. Yeah. Oh God, all the time. All the time. I'm a victim of it. Yes.
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah. Yeah. If you had to sit and draw a picture of your day, I thought about this several months ago. If I had to sit and just draw a picture of my day, where would I fit in that picture? It occurred to me that I would be the
Hmm.
last person I'm drawing in the
Yep.
picture.
Yeah.
Oh
Yep.
no, this has got to stop. This
Yep.
has got
That
to
is
stop.
so true. And a lot of us do it.
Mhm, mhm,
Hmm.
mhm. So I'm collecting these words, Laneisha,
Okay.
because I'm looking to see what nurses see in nurses. What do we think of nurses? And so I asked, what would you say if you had to describe the most essential quality of a nurse in just one word? What would that word be?
Compassion.
Compassion. That's the
Yes.
word that comes up a lot.
I know.
It comes up a lot.
Because sometimes the money ain't the best. You gotta have the heart and love to do it. And they told me that
Yeah.
all the time in school. Don't get in it for the money.
You,
Get in it because this is something that you want to do.
mhm, mhm.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the money ain't gonna save you.
No, no, no.
And sometimes you're gonna need something to save you, and it
Yes, and it's not the money. I totally agree. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Laneisha, I'd like to thank you for this conversation. I've really, really, really enjoyed it. It's been
And
such
again, I thank you for reaching out. Like I said, I was so excited. I'm like, yay. And I usually don't, I'm starting to see, I'm getting in tune with the whole video thing and being in front of the world is something
Mhm.
new for me.
Yeah.
So when you came to me, I was like, oh, opportunity. So I told my dad, I'm like, you be on YouTube, Dad, because he don't know really much about social media. I'm like, you be on YouTube, Dad, you got to watch me now. He's like, oh, okay. So yes, I thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for doing this. I so appreciate it.